Den 25. februar har vi premiere på en helt ny opsætning af Puccinis elskede opera Madama Butterfly. Og jeg har fået instruktøren Floris Visser sat i stævne til at tale lidt om både operaen og produktionen. Welcome, Floris.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a loved classic, and that's why it's always interesting to talk about how do we tell this story, because you've actually added a very important figure. Character.
Yeah. When I met with the dramaturg Jürg Rieker in Amsterdam, he said to me very early, also in a meeting, he said, "What about the son when he gets older?" And I looked at him again, and I was like, Jürg, what do you want with him? He said, well, can't we start on an attic where he finds a box or a suitcase, like, you know, goes down memory lane? And I said, but that is such a cliche, and that is so sentimental, and that is already one of the big traps with Puccini, all the cliches, the kitsch, the sentimentality. I said, please, no. Yeah. So I kind of wiped that off the table, and I went back to London.
Room.
Yeah, and I went back to London, and I thought we need to minimalize it. We need to make it very abstract, like a Japanese ritual, like kabuki theater is. So, you know, me and Gideon, the set designer, we were working on that. But a little voice in the back of my head kept saying, it's not enough. It's not special enough. You're not going deep enough. You don't have yet that one extra turn or view on the piece. I lacked something. And the team felt it. And certainly Gideon, who knows me already for more than a decade, said to the rest of them, he will go on holiday now, he will go to Greece, and trust us, within a month the phone will ring and he will wipe it all off the table. It was indeed, I was on Crete and I relaxed and I was swimming, and I still remember I got out of the sea and I suddenly went, of course, that's it. What if the son suddenly asks to his father, where do I really come from? He feels that he comes from two cultures. He embodies East and West, America and Japan. He is a walking identity crisis, you could say. And also somebody without roots, or partly without roots. Japan has always had an inner conflict between progressives and conservatives, and that is also what you see in the piece itself. And do not forget, the piece is based on a true told story. They didn't invent this story. The original writer of the original novel, based it on a real story told by his sister-in-law, who was a missionary in Japan. The story of Chocho's son marrying to a naval officer, getting pregnant, and him leaving and leaving her behind, and her suicide is real. It's real. And there is even another book, there's called also Madame Chrysanthème from Loti, which tells exactly the same story. So these tragedies happened. That is not us inventing making them up. Absolutely not. So we make this room of history and culture in the Tokyo National Museum.
Exactly, because the whole opera takes place in the Tokyo National Museum.
And you see in the beginning also this identity crisis that Japan is. You see American Navy soldiers, but also young Japanese geishas. You see...
And I mean, the son has brought his parents
as well. And the son has brought his
parents.
I
was thinking about, because you said I felt like Pinkerton, but I mean, you actually, as Pinkerton is on stage and see everything happening, I mean, Pinkerton is in the 50s and see everything happening in the 20s.
Exactly.
You actually do make him suffer a bit then.
Oh yes, oh God, yes. No, I mean, what you get is a road down memory lane, but of course Act 1 is, in that museum, the father, Pinkerton, telling the son, this is how I met your mother, and this is actually how you were conceived. But Act 2, of course, is the son telling the father, this is how my life was for 3 years, almost 4 years.
And this is how you treated my mother.
When you were not there, you bastard. Because let's say it's not a healthy relationship between father and son. And then in Act 3, I always say everything explodes or implodes, leading up to the suicide. But it was fascinating how, I think in 1 minute, that entire production went, through my brain, that everything came together.
Because of course that is a hot topic. I mean, how to how to make this piece today. Should we make this piece today? And then again, as you even brought it up yourself, like a white European man. How were your thoughts then? How do you handle those difficult questions?
My first step in that was saying we have to deal with Japanese culture, history, and also the art in it, in extreme detail and with extreme respect and extreme love. So I also said to people, I don't want depictions or costume designs or set designs or even props that are not based on the original, that are not to the letter, that are, if it's not on a photo or if it's not on a historical print or if it's not in a museum, we will not do it. If somebody would find something to criticize me on it, I will always be able to counter it with, of each detail in the production, each nail, each screw that is in the set, saying, look, this is real. This is not me or my fantasy or of my design or of what we think is Japan. This is really Japan. I can look myself in the mirror and say, we've done the best that we can. And I'm absolutely convinced that this is what I want to show. And this is my love, my respect, and my extreme precision in each detail in the production for Japan, Japanese culture, Japanese art, and Japanese history. What was it for you personally, when you heard and when you saw everything surrounding our production, my interpretation of Madama Butterfly? What was the reason for you to say, yes, that's the one I want, that's what I want to show in Copenhagen too?
Well, first of all, it's a really beautiful production, I find.
Thank you.
And it's so well thought through in every detail. And I must say, I was, just as you've been talking about here, but I was really fascinated by the idea of the grown-up son. Well, he's grown up, but he's still a child somehow,
course,
as well.
yeah.
I mean,
He's
he's what, 25, and he has this sore child within him. And as you say, my mother committed suicide. I think that for every child or every human being that experienced that, you will always ask yourself, why would she do that?
Yeah.
What wasn't I enough worth living for? Yeah. So all those questions around that, I find that's really interesting as well. And then letting him come back as a grown-up and bring his parents or his bonus mom and his father to Japan to seek his root. For me, that's a new way on seeing this piece, and you could kind of see it with new eyes. I think it's very inspiring also actually to let both Kate Pinkerton and Benjamin Franklin Pinkerton, let them, you know, together see what he did to her. And so for me, it's like, it's really nice because we kind of take one step back and look at it. As it's not an easy opera to develop, I think that was an interesting way of doing it.
For you as an artistic director of an opera house, there is of course also, as we said, it's a hot topic. Like for instance, the Moor is in Zauberflöte, or do we paint Othello black? Can we? No way. I would say these days. But how do you? And the same is with Butterfly. How?
And I think we're on a journey actually, because 10 years ago nobody had a problem with Othello, and today it would be difficult. And maybe we say something else about Butterfly in 5 years. But this is a way of trying to find a way of doing it. And then I think we always have to discuss afterwards. So is this the way? Maybe somebody will say it's absolutely not. Somebody will say that's perfect. And in 10 years we maybe say something else. So thank you so much for this very interesting talk, and good luck with the opening.
Looking forward.
Yeah, we're looking forward.
25th.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.